Hello folks, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will walk you through the topic regression testing, covering about what, when, and its techniques. So let's begin with what is regression testing. Regression testing is basically rerunning the functional and the non-functional test cases to make sure that the previously developed and tested software works as expected after a change is applied to it. So let me give you an example of a login page. You were testing a login window of an application where a new feature related to forgot password link was added. This forgot password feature mentions that when the user clicks on the forgot password link, a new window should be opened and it should have a email field and the reset password button and allow user to reset the password after the user enters the email into the email field and clicks on the reset password button. Now, after testing this newly added feature, as a part of regression testing, you should check a valid login and an invalid login scenario to ensure that the existing login functionality works fine. You can also check a scenario to log in with the changed password to ensure that nothing is broken. When to perform regression testing? Bug fixes. When the bug found while testing is fixed and we need to run a round of regression testing to check that everything works fine. Newly added feature to the software. Like we just saw the example of forgot password link added to the login page, here we should perform regression testing to ensure that the existing feature of login is working as expected. After integrating different modules or components, let's take an example of e-commerce application where a new window for offers or discounts is added. After integration, we should run the regression test to ensure that all the feature of the application, like adding product to the cart with offers or discounts, checking out the product, making the payment, checking out the confirmation receipts, etc., are working fine. Configuration changes. Regression tests should be run after the configuration changes are made. For example, IP or port or server changes where the application is hosted, and feature flag changes. Now, the feature flag changes, most of the development teams work with these feature flag changes where they develop a feature which is enabled or toggled behind a particular feature flag. So when that feature flag is enabled, the respective feature should work and should be displayed in the application. When it is turned off, that particular feature should not be displayed in the application. So here, when that particular feature flag is enabled, we should make sure that the existing functionality or the existing feature or the functions that are previously available in the application are working fine, as well as we should make sure by running a regression testing that whatever feature that is developed and set behind the feature flag is working as expected. When that particular feature is turned on, it should not be displayed or should not work when that particular feature is disabled. So this particular feature flag changes is also related to the regression testing, where we need to run the regression test to make sure that the respective feature flag changes are working as expected. Pre-release verification. Regression testing should also be done before releasing the application to production to ensure smooth working of all the scenarios, and it's a kind of a verification also to ensure that everything that is developed in the application at a final cut is performing as expected, and the particular product that we have developed can be released with quality to the production and to the end users. Talking about the regression testing techniques. So there are 4 different techniques that can be used while performing regression testing: retest everything, select regression test, prioritize test cases, and hybrid technique. So let's learn about them one by one. Retest everything. This testing technique implies testing every test suite completely. It is applicable when there are multiple changes made to the software application at a primary or root level. It is necessary for identifying and resolving all the bugs. For example, a major rewrite is done for the software application. Hence, we need to thoroughly perform regression testing to uncover and fix all the bugs. Though it is a recommended approach, it is time consuming and needs more testers to complete. Here, It is recommended to use automated regression testing with tools like Selenium WebDriver, Playwright, or any other tool in case we are performing regression testing using web automation. In case of API, there are multiple tools available like REST Assured, Supertest, Playwright, Cypress, etc. And in case of mobile, there are multiple tools also available like WebDriver, IO, APM, and so on. So we can make use of these tools to run the automated test for the regression testing. Select regression test. In this technique, partial test cases related to the specific areas of software where modifications are made are taken into consideration for testing. For example, there is a change in the particular window of the web application. So regression testing will be performed around that specific window only and not the whole application. Fine. So in the select regression test, we select a specific area where the changes are done and the respective regression test around that area is only run. We did not run like whole of the regression test suite, but it's all related to the team's agreement where they agree like we need to perform this much regression testing only. If the team is like of the opinion that we need to perform a full round of regression testing, then we can use the retest everything technique and perform full regression. Prioritize test cases. In this technique, the test cases are prioritized based on the priority for testing. The test cases are selected based on different factors such as most commonly used features of the software, business impact, area of the software where most of the bugs were reported, customer-centric features, and newly implemented functionalities. It is a kind of partial regression of the application based on the team's experience. So maybe we can prioritize test cases based on our previous experience with the software. Like for example, there is a specific area in the software where most of the bugs were reported. For example, take an example of a stock market application where most of the things depend on the margin calculation. So if you know that the most of the issues come from the margin calculation part where the implementation was not done correctly. So in case of running regression test, we should always make sure that we run that particular calculations before we release that particular bug fixes to the end users. Or if we implement a new feature on the application also, we need to make sure that the previous cases related to the calculations and the other changes related to the mostly used features by the end users is thoroughly tested as a part of regression test, and then we can release it to the production. Hybrid technique. This technique is a combination of previously mentioned two techniques, the test case prioritization and regression test selection. It is used in cases where we need to perform regression based on certain areas of software as well as select some critical test scenarios to ensure that the software works as expected after the bug fixes. Now it is purely a team's experience that needs to be utilized here in case of hybrid testing, where we need to make sure like what all test cases we need to select for performing the regression testing to ensure that we have a smooth release and everything that we have developed as well as whatever bug fixes that we have put in as well as whatever suggestions and other observations that we have incorporated in the software are thoroughly checked as a part of regression testing, and also the other areas which are not touched are also working as expected. So whatever changes that we have brought in the software do not impact the any other area of the software, and that is how we can perform a regression hybrid regression testing to ensure that we have covered everything. Now, to conclude, regression testing verifies that the software works as expected after the bug fixes. It verifies that the newly implemented features does not break the existing application. It ensures that the untouched areas of the software works as expected. It builds confidence in the team that the software can be released into production with quality. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do like, subscribe, and share this video with your network. Thank you so much.